The fall of Constantinople on May 29, 1453, marked one of history's most significant turning points. After a 53-day siege beginning on April 6th, the Ottoman Empire captured the capital of the Byzantine Empire, effectively ending the Roman state that traced its origins to the ancient Roman Republic and had evolved through nearly 2 millennia of continuous governance. The 21-year-old Sultan Mehmed II led the attacking forces against Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos and his defenders, transforming Constantinople into the new Ottoman capital. This conquest represented more than a change in power. It symbolized the end of the medieval period and the beginning of the early modern era. The city's legendary Theodosian walls, which had protected Constantinople for 800 years and were considered among the world's most advanced defensive systems, finally fell to Ottoman cannons firing 500-kilogram cannonballs over 1.5 kilometers. This marked a revolutionary shift in military history, as traditional fortifications proved vulnerable to gunpowder artillery. By 1453, the once mighty Byzantine Empire had been reduced to little more than Constantinople itself and a few surrounding territories. The Black Death between 1346 and 1349 had killed nearly half the city's population, and centuries of conflict with Latins, Serbs, Bulgarians, and Ottoman Turks had severely weakened the empire. The capital had become a series of walled villages separated by empty fields. When Mehmed II descended to power in 1451 at age 19, European courts mistakenly assumed the young sultan posed no serious threat. However, Mehmed quickly revealed his ambitions. By early 1452, he began constructing Rumeli Hisari, a fortress on the European side of the Bosporus, directly across from an earlier Ottoman fortress. This strategic pair gave the Ottomans complete control over sea traffic through the strait. Emperor Constantine XI recognized the danger and sought help from Western Europe, but centuries of religious division between the Eastern and Western churches hindered support. Although Pope Nicholas V wanted to help, Western powers were preoccupied with their own conflicts: the 100 Years' War, the Reconquista, and internal struggles within the Holy Roman Empire. Only modest assistance arrived. Cardinal Isidore brought 200 archers, and the Genoese commander Giovanni Giustiniani arrived in January 1453 with 700 men. Venice deliberated sending a fleet, but delayed until it was too late. The stark disparity in military strength between the defenders and attackers of Constantinople became evident as both sides prepared for the siege. The Byzantine defense force numbered approximately 7,000 men, including only 2,000 foreigners. A census, ordered by Emperor Constantine in late March 1453, revealed the dire situation. Merely 4,773 Greek defenders and 200 foreign troops were initially available. Additional volunteers from Genoa, Venice, and secretly from Galata brought the total to around 8,000 men tasked with defending 12 miles of perimeter walls. The city's population had dwindled to fewer than 50,000 people, including refugees from surrounding areas. In contrast, the Ottoman forces were overwhelming. Modern estimates based on Ottoman archives suggest 50,000 to 80,000 soldiers, including 5,000 to 10,000 elite Janissaries and 1,500 Serbian cavalry. Contemporary Western observers reported even higher numbers, ranging from 160,000 to 300,000, though these figures were likely exaggerated. Mehmed II also commanded a naval fleet estimated at 110 ships, comprising 70 large galleys and various support vessels. The Ottomans' most fearsome advantage was their artillery. They deployed between 12 and 62 cannons, far surpassing the defenders' expectations. The most famous was a massive bombard built by Orban, a Hungarian engineer who had initially offered his services to the Byzantines, but was turned away due to lack of funds. His 27-foot cannon, named Basilica, could hurl 600-pound stone balls over a mile. Despite taking 3 hours to reload and allegedly collapsing after 6 weeks, it represented a revolutionary weapon. Turkish engineer Saruka built additional large bombards, and an artillery train of 70 pieces was laboriously transported from Edirne by teams of oxen and hundreds of men. On April 2, 1453, the Ottoman army encamped outside Constantinople. Mehmed positioned himself near the Mesothekyon section of the Theodosian walls, where his guns and Janissaries concentrated their forces. The defenders, lacking sufficient numbers to man the entire fortification, focused on the outer walls. Constantine XI and Giovanni Giustiniani commanded the most vulnerable central section, while Venetian and Genoese commanders distributed their forces along the remaining land and sea walls. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Byzantines held defensive advantages, nearly 20 kilometers of formidable walls recently repaired and considered among Europe's strongest, plus a small fleet of 26 ships. As the siege commenced, Mehmed II quickly secured Byzantine strongholds outside Constantinople, capturing the fortress of Therapia and the castle at Studius within days. His massive cannons bombarded the walls for weeks, but their slow firing rate allowed defenders to repair damage between shots, limiting their effectiveness. The Ottoman fleet under Admiral Baltoglu faced early setbacks. A defensive chain prevented entry into the Golden Horn, and on April 20th, 4 Christian relief ships fought their way through the blockade, boosting defender morale and humiliating the Sultan. Mehmed punished Baltoglu severely, stripping his wealth and ordering him whipped. However, the Sultan soon achieved a remarkable tactical victory. On April 22nd, he had his ships dragged overland across Galata on greased logs, bypassing the chain entirely and entering the Golden Horn from the north. This maneuver threatened the city's supply lines and forced defenders to spread their already thin forces along the sea walls. On the night of April 28th, defenders attempted to destroy the Ottoman ships with fire vessels, but failed catastrophically. Mehmed ordered 40 captured Italian sailors impaled within sight of the city walls. In retaliation, Constantine XI executed 260 Ottoman prisoners before the enemy's eyes, marking a grim escalation in the conflict. The Ottomans launched costly frontal assaults on the land walls, all ending in failure. From mid-May, they attempted mining operations, digging tunnels to collapse the fortifications. A German engineer named Johannes Grant led the Byzantine countermining efforts, and defenders successfully intercepted and destroyed tunnels on May 16th, 21st, 23rd, and 25th using Greek fire in direct combat. On May 21st, Mehmed offered to lift the siege if Constantine surrendered the city, promising safe passage and even offering him governorship of the Peloponnese. The emperor refused, declaring that he and his citizens had chosen to die rather than surrender. Despite advice from his veteran vizier Halil Pasha to abandon the siege, Mehmed ordered preparations for a final assault. The Ottoman cannons had fired 5,000 shots using 55,000 pounds of gunpowder by May 28th, when both sides prepared for the climactic battle. Religious processions filled Constantinople's streets, and a solemn Vespers service was held in Hagia Sophia. Shortly after midnight on May 29th, the final assault began. Waves of irregular troops attacked the damaged Blatcherny walls, followed by elite Janissaries. The critical moment came when Giovanni Giustiniani was gravely wounded and evacuated, causing panic among the defenders. Constantine XI and his remaining troops fought desperately, but the Janissaries, led by Ulubatli Hassan, breached the walls at multiple points. Constantine allegedly discarded his imperial regalia and died fighting in the streets, though his exact fate remains uncertain. By midday, the Ottoman army had swept through the city, and Constantinople had fallen. Following the Ottoman victory, Mehmed II granted his soldiers the customary 3 days of plundering. On the third day, he issued a proclamation allowing surviving Christians to emerge from hiding without fear and permitting those who had fled before the siege to return and reclaim their property. The Hagia Sophia was converted into a mosque, though the Greek Orthodox Church remained intact, with Gennadius Scholarius appointed as Patriarch of Constantinople. The fall sent shockwaves throughout Christian Europe. Pope Pius II lamented that while Christianity had previously suffered losses in distant lands, this defeat occurred in Europe. In our own land, in our own house. He strongly advocated for a new crusade, though European powers showed little interest in launching a counteroffensive. The last Byzantine territory soon followed Constantinople's fate. The Peloponnesian stronghold of Mistras fell in 1460, and the independent state of Trebizond collapsed in 1461. Constantine XI had died without an heir. His nephews were absorbed into Mehmed's court, with the elder becoming governor-general of the Balkans and the younger eventually serving twice as Grand Vizier. Meanwhile, many Greek scholars fled westward to Italian city-states, bringing invaluable knowledge and documents from the Greco-Roman tradition. This intellectual migration significantly accelerated the Renaissance, as figures like John Argyropoulos and Constantine Lascaris shared their expertise with Western Europe. The conquest resonated powerfully across the Islamic world. Cairo celebrated with decorations, and the Sharif of Mecca praised Mehmed as the Sultan of all kings and sultans. Noting that the Prophet Muhammad's prophecy had been fulfilled, Mehmed declared himself Caesar-i-Rum, Caesar of the Romans, claiming succession to the Roman Empire itself. The city's fall inspired numerous legends among Greeks. A lunar eclipse on May 22nd and strange lights around Hagia Sophia's dome were interpreted as divine omens. One enduring legend tells of Constantine being turned to marble by an angel and hidden in a cave, awaiting resurrection when Constantinople returns to Christian hands. Since the city fell on a Tuesday, that day has been considered unlucky in Greek culture ever since. The Ottomans initially used Arabic transliterations like Constantiniye for the city. The name Istanbul, likely derived from the Greek phrase meaning to the city, gradually spread among the Turkish population but only became official in 1930. The fall of Constantinople marked not just the end of the Byzantine Empire, but a pivotal moment historians recognize as the transition from the medieval period to the early modern era.